Which praise give unto Allah and to the divine prophets for all the wonderful works they have brought to us. And I shall attempt to read a portion from the Holy Quran of the Most Holy Temple of Science.
We just on here a little early before everybody comes on.
Divine teaching of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days, is subjected to 3 temptations. He overcomes. Returned to the camps of John and began teaching. The harbinger had paved the way. The logo had been introduced to men as love made manifest. And he must now begin his divine ministry. He went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart and know its strength and wilderness. And with himself he talked. He said, my Lord self is strong. Now many times I am bound down to call life. Have I the strength to overcome and give my life a willing sacrifice for men. But when I shall stand before the face of men, when they demand a proof for my messiahship, what will I say?
What would I say?
The tempter came and said, if you be the Son of Allah, command these stones
to be turned to bread.
And Jesus said, who is it that demands a test? It is no sign that one is the Son of Allah because he does a miracle. The devils can do mighty things. Did not the Gentile magician do great things before the Pharaoh? My words and deeds and all the walks of life should be the proof of my messiahship. And then the tempter said, if you will go into Jerusalem and from the temple pinnacle cast down yourself to the earth, the people will believe you are the Messiah sent from Allah. This you can surely do. But did not David say he gives his angels charge concerning you, and with their hand will they uphold lest you should fall? And Jesus said, I will not tempt the Lord, my God, Allah. And the tempter said, look forth upon the world. Behold its honors and its fame. Behold its treasures and its wealth.
Come on.
If you would give your life to these, they shall be yours. But Jesus said, away from me all hope thoughts. My heart is fixed. I turn this concept with all its vain ambition and its pride. And for 40 days, Jesus wrestled with his common self, his heart to prevail. He then was hungry, but his friend had found him. They ministered to him. And Jesus left the wilderness, and the consciousness of Holy Bread came into the camps of John and taught. Praise Allah for being able to be out to this meeting.
It's long.
Nice. We remember the prophet. Remember the divine demonstration he did.
Happy solar return, Brother Prophet.
Not the Brother Prophet. This is essential. I'm talking about the body. The spirit is the same. But this particular spirit of Prophet Noble Drawley got into this body we're talking about sometime after it was on earth. So he got in this body, the body got in for the brother in the temple. So the brother, being the brother in the temple, he allowed us to refer to him affectionately as Brother Prophet. So those of us who are followers of Prophet Noble Drawley reincarnated, we often refer to him as Brother Prophet. Now, Brother Prophet He was,
Come on, Brother Prophet.
born, as his brother said earlier, in a form, and his father and mother was in what is really referred to as old.
We're going to get started pretty soon. We're just listening to a demonstration from the Holy Temple of Science based on the demonstration of Brother Prophet, because today is John Given's ill solar return. So today we have a celebration that takes place for Brother John's Given ill, Brother Prophet. Islam? Islam.
A mystery of the old Egyptian language. So the culture extends way back before the Atlantic Ocean. So praise Allah that divinely that there's still a connection with our people that we can get in touch with our forefathers, our father and our mother, and they belong for the earth and to Lord our God, all that given thee. So the Brother Prophet began to do the work of Allah in this body that he reincarnated. It started off demonstrating a divine way, divinity. But this organization that was formed by Prophet Noble Twali, the founder, it was a national and divine movement. The natural power was taught by the Prophet, spiritual Prophet, in this form, what they call the founders.
Okay.
In the founders form, he did the work, setting up his organization, the foundation, or his national work. The foundation he built there. That could be the foundation for the national part of this organization. He began the design. And I just read, Jesus came and taught in that manner. He taught the people on one level for a period of time. He went into the divine teaching. And the divine teaching, it was a different, it's a different group of brothers and sisters at a different level of understanding. So in order to do that, he had to trick the brothers and sisters because those that didn't understand, they end up being what I'm going to use the term disruptive. So I'm going to use that term disruptive because we
disruptor
in a common or regular school that if you're teaching, that you have some students that want to learn and some don't.
Some are disruptive.
Some don't want to learn, they're disruptive. They try to disrupt
the class. Yeah.
It's like this brother that
yes.
He don't have give the hand.
Hold on.
He was one of the
Hold on, y'all.
That occurred until the
Yes, sir. I'm in class. What's going on? What? What are you talking?
They said it was reported stolen at the pawn shop, and now I got a warrant out for my arrest.
What?
So now
Islam, sis. Islam. I'm gonna be on in just a minute. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay, says Islam. Excuse me.
Islam, Sister Shonda. Right now, we're listening to a demonstration from Brother John and them. They're doing real quick based off of John Givens. It's John Givens' Ill's solar return today. So that's the reincarnated prophet. So they're doing a demonstration on that right now. So I'm about to click it off in just a minute, okay? But I want you to hear.
Okay.
Understanding that we can credit for. Because of myself, I was dead to find out in 1978. It took a long time to wake up.
Can you hear?
Conscious of the prophet's word. To understand it. I studied the truth for years.
It's low. I'm trying to figure out why I ain't slipping from my headphone.
It's long.
It looks like me.
Is it lagging? It's lagging again, ain't it?
For me to get to the level where I can understand what the prophet's trying to tell me.
I'm gonna let it catch up.
Brother, Ezekiel, small day, little day, forward day. The prophet didn't use them because of the quality of what that was they were. He used them to accomplish what he needed to do. He established the organization. You can't even tell us about those brothers where they were along the way. They're sticking to what he needed, so that's what the prophet used. So I'm saying that that's why I set this organization on a national level. He set up all our gave everything we need. The cow passes, which we lost. Our flag, which we was not able to support, uphold after the War of 1812. Our Zion Creed, which we had been forced to accept under slavery, the European Christianity. So all of this the prophet had to deal with. But he used and dealt with that to build his organization from the national part. But when he got ready for the divine part, he had to go into a part of the understanding that the European had conditioned us to not consider becoming a soul to a substance part of the mind, no place of eye to see. The prophet European stopped us from thinking, we went through no thinking, understanding, reasoning. We were doing that, so we'll be taught that. But as I said, in order to do that, the prophet had to shake up some things down. After the prophet had the organization, he set this organization on the hand, and we could build it to be the government that we asked them. We prayed, let the kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. We set up the first convention. Now, when he set up the first convention, like I said, the prophet was dealing with, Garfield understood what he was doing when he set that first convention up. But he said he's setting up that he's going to come back, now he's going to teach you in a divine way how to raise a government that we've asked for, let that kingdom come on earth, a government where everybody in that government is doing right. So after I said he set up the foundation on the national level, that he get ready for divine teaching, that's when he told the brothers and sisters that he was going to go away for a while. When he come back, did you recognize him? And there's a lot I can't say, I won't say too much.
Not too many.
But I will say this, is that when the prophet he was going away, he was coming back, the brothers and sisters said that we recognize him. They didn't have enough understanding to put a chair for him to sit in when he came back. It was a vacant chair. There may be some temple even today that we have a vacant chair for the prophet to sit in once he comes back, according to their understanding.
All right, Sister Shonda, we're going to get started, okay? I just was trying to play that because it was really good. They were demonstrating John Givens Ill's birthday and just demonstrating how the prophet Noble Drew Ali reincarnated into another body. His spirit went into another body as soon as he could find one clean enough to go into, so he can come back and teach the divine part of this movement. The divine part wasn't taught until he came and reincarnated. So that part was taught by mail. It was taught by mail through letters. From 1929, after he passed, until October of 1945, John Givens ill taught in private, in secret, like through the mail. Because no one believed the prophet. Like, you could really see that that's where, you know, it's the spirit is infinite. The body is finite. So people are running behind the body. They looking for a body. They looking for a person per se, and not the spirit. So that's what today is celebrated, because today is his Earth Day, December the 6th. So, you know, we get all this energy that comes in. Huh?
Tell me that name one time.
John Givens Ill. They would call him Brother Prophet or the reincarnated prophet.
I'm learning.
Islam. Okay, so I know it's 8. We're gonna get through these laws. Islam. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Can we all stand as we recite our morning prayer? We're going to turn to the east. It's going within. We put up 5 fingers on the left, 2 on the right, with our heels touching one another. Standing on our square, repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam. Now for the recitation for our laws. Salvation, Allah, unity. The more signs, let me first rise. I first rise and give the highest praises to our Father God Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Also rise giving high praises to Mother Allah, the mother of the virtues, and the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. I also rise giving high holy honors to our illustrious and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who brought us this message of love. I want to rise and give honors to the forerunner to our prophet, who was like John was to Jesus, and that is our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey Bey. Islam, we give him his Moorish attributes. Islam. Also, I want to rise and give honors to all the illustrious prophets for all the wonderful works that they brought unto us. Allah, keep our hearts and minds pure as thou did in ancient times as we come to this meeting with one another. Islam. I give honors to each and every one of you that are on here, on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Islam. Now for the recitation for our divine constitution and bylaws. Islam. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Islam. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Noble Drew Ali, the founder. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam. Now for the additional laws for Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh is the governing head of our temple. All business of said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before being acted upon by any member. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their ADAP meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Islam. And now I'd like to give honors to our 6 and 7 law, which is just a repetitive from our first. That is, we're teaching our people your nationality and divine creed, and then the husband and wife, and keeping your hearts and minds pure with love and bodies clean with water. So we're going to give honors to those words again. Islam. Happy holiday, Sister Shonda. How are you?
I am great. How are you, sister?
I am good. Islam. So today. Oh my goodness, I have this all out of order. Hold on, let me put this where it goes back. Oh,
Mm.
my 53. Hold on.
Mm-mm.
How did she get way back here? Hold on. Wait, okay, there it is. 59. My Quran is so like all the pages are followed apart, so it's like I have to get to
Yeah,
them.
but
So, Chanda, we are coming on here today.
mm-hmm.
I fell into weakness
Ooh.
all over again because I had to ask myself 3 questions this week, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna tell you how I answered them for myself because I really needed to take a look at
Okay.
myself. And I got these from doing my cards, right? One day I did them and I pulled one and it was asking me these
Mm-hmm.
questions. And I said, these are some serious questions
Mm-hmm.
to ask myself. So the first question I asked myself, it said, do I take responsibility for the choices I make and the actions I take? I had to think about it because I had to really make sure that I was. But I say yes, because whether right or wrong, I must hold myself accountable. Whether right or wrong,
Right.
whether I did wrong or it's right, I have to hold myself accountable. So now in this space in my time in my life, I have.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
what was that question again? So I can
do I take responsibility for the choices I make and the actions I take?
Okay. Okay.
So my second question to
Go ahead,
myself,
sis.
huh? Okay, my second question to myself was, what do I consider to be truly just? My answer, truth, because it's the only thing that changes not. So that's the only thing. What do I consider to be truly just is truth. The
Okay.
third one, do I call on empathy and understanding before making judgment calls? Huh? I said yes and no. I said yes and no. Because I can jump to conclusions real quick. But in this work of self discovery, I'm learning to call on empathy and understanding more so that I am thinking and responding with more patience with even myself. So
Mm. That's fine.
those were the 3 questions I had to ask myself this cycle. And in that, that's what made me go to misery. I was like, I wanted to go into that chapter. So we talked about that today. And not misery, weakness. We talked about weakness, but I went into misery,
Yeah.
weakness, inconstancy,
Mm.
ability of man, and the soul of man. And you said something profound when I
Mm-hmm.
sent you that. What did you say? You said it was all in the same.
Yes, they were just intertwining with each other, like geez, okay. And so relatable. So
And
it's
so,
like goodness. So this is yes.
yes, yes. So,
Mm.
do you want to start reading, or would you want me to start in the chapter of weakness from the ones that I chose from, or would you rather start?
You can go ahead, sis. Start from where you chose from.
Okay. So, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 42. Holy instructions from the Prophet of Weakness. Weakness. I'm going one. I'm going to jump around a little bit. So, one. So, if you want to stop me at any time, let me know if you want to stop and say something on it or whatever. Um,
Okay.
Vain and inconstant as thou art, O child of imperfection, how can thou be weak? Is not inconstancy connected with frailty? Can there be vanity without infirmity? Avoid the danger of one, and thou shalt escape the mischiefs of the other. 5. Couldst thou choose for thyself? Would thy Creator lay before thee all that thy heart could ask for? Would happiness then remain with thee, or would joy always dwell in thy gates? Those are questions. These are questions. And this is what took me here, because it was these 3 questions. And it, in the circle 7, in the Holy Quran, the circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet, there's many times where this question is being asked to you through these chapters. You'll get different questions. Islam. So now I'm going to go to 7.
Islam.
When that is gone, thou repented the loss of it. Though while it was with thee, thou despises it. So even when we get something,
Mm-hmm.
we can get something and we wanted it so bad. Now we got it in our possession. Now we don't even like it. We even got it now. We like, dang, man, what? I despise. Shouldn't hate, but that's what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
8. That
Yes,
which
yes,
succeeded it hath no more pleasure to thee. And thou afterwards quarreleth with thyself for preferring it. Behold, the only circumstance in which thou arrest not. Is there anything in which thy weakness appeareth more than in desiring things? It is in the possessing and in the using of them. So is there anything in which thy weakness appeareth more than in desiring things?
And things is really everything. Physical things, states of being, money. Mm-mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. Good things cease to be good in our enjoyment of them. When nature meant pure sweets are sources of bitterness to us. From our delights arise pain. From our joys, sorrow. Good things cease to be good in our enjoyment of them. That one right there is very, it's strong. That number 10 is strong.
Yeah.
Nature made pure sweets are sources of bitterness to us. So it's bitter to us, but nature means it to be sweet for us. So I look at that. Sometimes even those things that come in our life that, like I said, good things cease to be good in our enjoyment of them. But we should even enjoy them in the time of bitterness, like learning how to even do that. Because from our delights arise pain, yeah. Because we be like, oh, I'm so in love, then you got pain coming in. Our joy.
Yeah. Sorrow. Goodness, just such is the nature of man. It's like we just gotta accept this is the way that we are about life. It's like this, like, oh goodness. I mean, it's a blessing there, but it also is like, ooh, we got a lot to realize there in this. That, like you said, with joy, the things we celebrate can also. I mean, I guess like the text say, cause us pain, but that's just a hard thing to reconcile when you really think about it. Like you said, we want to be in love so bad, but in that space of being in love, it's gonna come some hard days, hard nights, hard seasons. Heck, we celebrate the summer, but then it's hot as heck.
Yes.
So it's like, yes.
That weakness is serious, right? Be moderate in the enjoyment, and it shall remain in thy possession. So be moderate in your enjoyment of things. Sometimes that's very hard to do. because we'll get overexcited. Now I can see how easily it slips away when you get too overexcited about it. You can just easily be like, sure, because
Yeah.
you done became too attached.
Mm-hmm.
Let thy joy be found
Mm-hmm.
on reason, and to its end shall sorrow be a stranger. Number 13, join esteem to thy admiration. Unite friendship with the love. So shall thou find in the end content so absolute that it surpasses raptures, tranquility more worth than ecstasy.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we go again on 14. This is always my one. Allah hath given thee no good without its admixture of evil, but he hath given thee
Yeah.
also the means of throwing off the evil from it.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
The
yes,
best,
yes. I love that one too, sis.
you love that one too? Yeah. The best things in the
Mm-hmm.
hands of a fool on 17. The best thing in the hands of a fool may be turned to his destruction, and out of the worst, the wise will find means of good.
Mm-hmm.
The wise can find means of good. That's like say your lights get cut off or something, the water. You're gonna find a means to go do it, and you'll find enjoyment in it. Like it'll be like, you can look back and say, that was funny, but I survived it. I got through that thing.
Yeah,
Might not.
definitely. I definitely get the same thing from that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. It's like perception, how you looking at the situation. Like you sometimes you can't change the situation, but you can change how you are in the situation.
Responding to it, right? Yes. The virtues are allotted to various stations. Seek not after impossibilities, nor grieve that thou cannot possess them all. The virtues are allotted to various stations. The mother of the virtues, the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Seek not after impossibilities.
Mm.
It tells you seek not after impossibilities. So you shouldn't be running after impossibilities because we'll look at something like, I know I can do it. But we'll be like, it's impossible. I can't do that. So we turn something
Mm.
into an
Mm.
impossibility based off of our thoughts.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I like that. Thank you for that. Mm. Mm-mm.
23.
It's
Truth is but one. That's why I said my definition of just, or
mm.
what I consider to be just, is
Oh.
because truth is but one. Thy doubts of thy own raising, thy doubts are of thy own raising. He who made virtues what they are, planning in thee a knowledge of their preeminence, act as thy soul dictates to thee, and the end shall always be right.
Mm-mm.
That's what made me fall into this chapter from when I was answering those questions, because I was like, oh, what do I consider just? I had to really go into the lessons, and I was like,
Right.
that weakness does something to me. It's long.
Mm. Yeah, it's long. It's long.
You want to give a
Yeah, I think
demonstration
it
of
does
that?
something to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it does something to all of us. It makes us consider other ways of being, other ways of thinking. Because when I looked at this one and then, um, goodness, it's just like I just see the cycle of man and our toil with trying to walk a life in alignment with the will of Allah, the will of what's right versus almost like makes me question for myself, like what am I really in this for? Because if you're in it for these false realities and these out, like you said, not like you said, but like it was saying in there, and one of them, it might not have been this one, but looking for some type of praise or um for the work that you do. It's like, and it's not about work, it's just about doing what you're supposed to be doing in life. And I think sometimes we just get tired and it starts to feel like a burden. But then I can remember being in other states of being, and that was uncomfortable too. You know, I woke
Uh-huh.
up one day and realized, like, okay, you're not living in alignment with. At that moment, I didn't know what it was. I just know that life wasn't feeling good. I later learned I wasn't living in alignment with the will of Allah, the will of the Creator.
Okay.
So this feels so much better than my old way of being, but even this too can sometimes just feel tired, where it's like nobody's really getting it, nobody wants to come together. You know, I'm researching myself, and then it's just leading me more researching myself. Like, is there,
Yes.
it can all just be like a bunch of work, and it's like, am I and you know it has its divine purpose, but then sometimes when you just look at the way everything is, it's like, does this really have a purpose? But when I read this, it's like, wow, um, Allah already knew that we were gonna have these type of insecurities and these type of feelings, and so that's why I think this is one of the most compassionate, even it's correcting, but it's compassionate too, because it's like so explanatory to how our thought processes go when we feel these weakness. And then also explaining why it's there. It's almost like it's there to make us strong. I don't like calling it a test because it's not a test, because we know what is right. That's why the end of it said, if you do what is right, then that's what you should expect. You know, walk in truth. And says, truth is but one. Thy doubts are thy own raising. He who made virtues what they are planted in thee a knowledge of their preeminence. So we understand what these virtues are, and we understand how to walk in them. And then it's also a text to me that tells me to like come up out of my feelings about the situation too, because it's
Mhm.
about purpose. And it says, act as thy soul dictates to thee, not according to my feelings, and
Mhm.
not even according to my own intellect, but according to the truth, because we started with the truth is but one. So act as thy soul, as the truth is dictated to me, and in the end, it will always be right. And it doesn't want to say that the feelings that the things that trigger us to feel weak are going to go away. To me, it's just how you look at it. Like, the your own doubt is the only reason you will see anything as impossible, and that doubt is what makes us start to feel tired and drained. So I don't know. It was just a it just put me in a deep space of introspection and retrospection, and even doing what the text directed me not to do, thinking about the future, and it's like, goodness. So it's that's
Mhm.
where it had me, sis.
Islam,
Mm-hmm.
Islam. Um, because I think thinking is not just if we don't move on the thought. So sometimes people think, "Oh, I'm just thinking." Thinking is, is the just thing, but it's not, especially if we're not moving on thought. Like when we're getting these thoughts, when these thoughts are registering with us, these are the thoughts we should be moving on. We should be thinking in a just way and from a more truthful, from the more of the truth side of it all, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, this is helping us to take our own feelings out of it, like take our own, because we get caught up. Like I said, I can jump to conclusions, so that's me and my feelings. But through the work, I'm learning to not do that. Like, oh, just listen, just calm down, be a little more patient with it. Don't get angry because you think it's an attack on you. Calm down a little bit. So um
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's where I was at with it. I'm gonna say this: to get to the truth, you got to go through bodyguards of lies. That was one of my things. You got to go through some bodyguard of lies to get to the truth. Because some folks, they will guard the
Mm-hmm.
truth like they bodyguards. And they don't want you to know the truth. So you
Oh
be like,
yes.
let me get through this. But all praises due
Mm-hmm.
to Allah that Prophet Noble Drew Ali put this Holy Quran in our hands, divinely prepared so that we can unfold. He was very intentional in the way he placed it, the words in here. He was intentional so that we could unfold in a very beautiful way. So even through the wording, as we unfold, our God unfolds. Islam.
Yes. Islam.
So the next chapter I was on was misery, but I would love for you to read this chapter. And there's just some certain
Okay.
ones I picked out, but if you don't mind reading misery, the chapter on misery, because as we say, these chapters are like they like all fold in together, they flow in together. So they're so needed for this unfoldment of
Yes,
man.
yes.
Islam. So
Okay.
misery is you got it.
Islam. Yes. Feeble and insufficient as thou art, O man, in good, frail and inconsistent as thou art in pleasure. Yet there is a thing in which thou art strong and unshaken, and its name is misery. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Ooh, that was like, goodness gracious. Like, that was just dang near so poetic, the way that just was written. Like,
Right?
goodness gracious.
He was a poet. This is poetic. This is poetic justice.
Yes. Hmm. It is the character of thy being, the prerogative of thy nature. In thy breast alone it resideth. Without thee there is nothing of it, and behold, what is its source but thine own passions? He who gave thee these gave thee also reason to subdue them. Exert it, and thou shalt trample them under thy feet. Mm-mm-mm.
Hmm.
Exert it, and thou shalt trample them under thy feet. I'm going to meditate on that one right there. Thine entrance, thine entrance into the world is not shameful. Thy destruction is not glorious. Lo, men adorn the instruments of death with gold and gems, and wear them above their garments. He who begetteth a man hideth his face, but he who killeth 1,000 is honored. Know thou, withstanding, that in this era custom cannot alter the nature of truth. Neither can the opinion of man destroy justice. The glory and the shame are misplaced. The glory and the shame are misplaced. There is but one way for a man to be produced. There are 1,000 by which he may be destroyed. Woo, that's a deep one right there. Because if that don't tell you the truth about what we dealing with right here, it's only one. Ooh, oh my goodness. Now that I'm about to say that, I just had another divine revelation. There is but one way for it to be produced. It's only one way here. There are 1,000 by which he may be destroyed, because there's only one way. One of the only ways to here is through the portal, and that's through the woman. So we got to consider that reading that. But we know Allah. This is a multi-layered text right here, though. But life is given to us as a gift, and then we seek out all these ways to destroy it. Because the text started out saying, like, we seek misery.
We do.
There is no praise or honor to him who giveth being to another, but triumphs and empires are the rewards of murder. Yet he who has many children has many. Did you want to say something, sis?
That 8, there's no praise or honor to him who giveth being to another, but triumphs and empires are the rewards of murder. Like, we don't get no praise when we, it ain't really a big celebration when we birth a child. I would say that it's not a big celebration for us. You know what I'm saying? But boy, they will reward somebody for, they went to war. You got a Purple Heart. You got a this heart. You got a this heart. We don't get.
Hey, then what did he say up there? That honor and shame are where was it? Right there, they're in the wrong place. They get
Oh, glory and shame are misplaced. In 6.
Glory and shame. The glory and the shame are misplaced.
They're
That's,
misplaced.
oh, goodness. If we don't sit and listen to that right there, the glory, and that's what's going on with our people right now. But we got to find that in us. So it's like, goodness, because this is why we get weak. These little principles right here be hiding in us, and we got to make sure we remembering
Yes,
as a
yes,
people
exactly. Mm-hmm.
where that glory and what should be a shame. Um, mm, mm. Number 10 say, while the savage curses the birth of his son and blesses the death of his father, do he not call himself a monster?
Hmm.
Let me go back up. Let me go back up to 8 and read them all together.
Okay.
There is no praise or honor to him who giveth being to another, but triumphs and empires are the rewards of murder. But triumphs and empires are the rewards of murderers. Yet he who hath many children hath many blessings, and he who hath taken away the life of another shall not enjoy his own. While the savage curseth the birth of his son, and blesseth the death of his father, do he not call himself a monster? Mm-mm-mm. Like,
Hmm.
even just when I'm like the savage curseth the birth of his son and blesseth the death of his father, because we show put way more into funerals than we do into the celebration intending to in this culture of again life coming here. Like, what are we really celebrating here, or what are
Mm-hmm.
we really ritualistically doing? Um, mm, the greatest, go to 11, the greatest of all human ills is sorrow. Too much of this thou art born into, add not into it by thy own perverse, perverseness. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest of all human ills is sorrow. Mm. Too much of this thou art born into sorrow. Add not into it by thy own perverseness. Mm. Don't become a sickness to yourself almost is what I'm saying to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's already so much of it going on around you. Don't add it to you.
To you, Islam. Mm.
Grief
Come
is
on now.
natural to and it's always about thee. Pleasure is a stranger and visiteth thee by times. Mm. Use well thy reason, and sorrow will be cast behind thee. Be prudent, and the visits of joy shall remain long with thee. What you got something to say about that one, sis?
Girl, yeah, because grief is
About that one?
natural to me. It's always about thee. We will complain, 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 and be like, it's me, and I'm going through, and woe is me. It's always the woe is me, because that's that grief that's natural to us. It's always about us.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get pleasure, it's strange to us. It's like, oh, what is that? Huh? You being pleasure. Oh, we act like we don't know what that even is. It's a stranger and it visited
Mm-hmm.
us by time. But I think
By
it's
time.
because of us that we do it to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
um, because we are not using well our reason. We don't use it.
Ooh.
We don't use our
Mm-mm-mm.
we don't use that at all. So
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Ooh, ooh.
prudent in the visits
Every
of joy
part of thy
remain.
frame.
Huh?
Go ahead, sis. No, go ahead.
I was just saying, be prudent, and the visits of joy shall remain long with thee.
Mm-hmm. And then prudent, what does that mean?
Prudence. Let me give you the exact definition.
Mm. Acting with or showing care and thought for the future. Acting with or showing care or thought for the future. That's what I got. What you got, sis? And then see, I'm seeing another one too. Marked by
Prudent,
wisdom.
marked by wisdom or judiciousness, shrewd in the management
Mm.
of practical affairs, cautious, discreet, thrifty, frugal. Gosh, I'm frugal.
Mm.
I'm frugal, boy.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay. They should remain long with thee. Yeah, okay. Go ahead, I'm ready. 13.
13. Every part of thy frame is capable of sorrow, but few and narrow are the paths that lead to delight. Pleasures can be admitted only simply. Pleasures can be admitted only simply, but pains rush into thousands at a time. Ooh,
Hmm.
Jesus, peace. As the blaze of straw fadeth as soon as it is kindled, so passeth away the brightness of joy, and thou knowest not what become of it. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Sorrow is frequent, pleasure is rare, pain cometh of itself. Delight must be purchased. Ooh. Grief is unmixed, but joy wanteth not its alloy of bitterness. As the soundest health is less perceived than the lightest malady, so the highest joy toucheth us deep than the smallest sorrow. We are in love with anguish. We often fly from pleasure when we purchase it, costeth it not more than it is worth. We are in love with anguish.
Mm-hmm.
We often fly from pleasures. When we purchase it, costeth it not more than it is worth. Jesus,
Facts.
OP.
You can think of that as anything
Mm-mm-mm.
materialistic. I could go into and say
Anything.
red bottoms. Let's say red bottoms. Girl, you go buy you some red bottoms. Every celebrity I've worked with that owned a pair of red bottoms, the one thing they would say is, I spent all this money on these shoes and they are the most uncomfortable shoe out.
Uncomfortable.
They hurt my feet.
Mm-hmm.
So you done paid
Mm-hmm.
$1,200 for a pair of red bottoms that you ain't gonna be comfortable in. You can't walk in them. You can be cute for
Just to
5
say you
minutes.
got them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. And we do that in so many different ways. I mean, even in our diets, if you think about it, like, okay, we're going to sit here and feed this sugar craving we got, but now we got insulin production problems or all type of things that we're just doing for this instant gratification. Excuse me. So, yes, anything, smoking, drinking feels great when we do it, but ultimately, even if you don't develop any rapid health problems, if you do it consistently, it's aging is faster. So it's always something that we got this reward for this stuff. It's costing us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Reflection is the business of man. I love that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Reflection is the business of man. Sense of his state is his first duty. But who remembereth himself a boy? Is it not in mercy then that a sorrow is allotted unto us? Mm.
Hmm.
So, okay. What do you make of this one, sis? Am I getting like, is it almost like sorrow is a mercy given to us so that we can reflect and remember?
That's a good
Or
way to
what do you
put it.
get from that one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Reflection is the business of
For
man.
man.
Sense
That's a
of
good.
his state is his first duty.
Oh,
So
remember
to
him.
sense how I am is my first duty. But who remembereth himself a boy? Is it not in mercy then that sorrow is allotted unto us? So what did you get of that one?
Um, Reflection is the business of man.
All right, what's up?
A sense of his state is his first duty. So the reflection, so when I look at the reflection is the business of man. So what am I showing up as? And how am I reflecting to the next person? Like that's the way I look at it. My reflection should be the
Okay.
business. I should be wanting to show up as my best self. A sense of his state is his first duty. The sense of my state of mind is my first duty. But I don't remember myself a little boy. I don't remember myself being that little, I don't remember that. But I know that even then, there was something I feel like even through being young, I was being formed to be a reflection.
Yeah.
Show up as a young person. So when you were saying
Okay. I got
is the mercy is allotted, is it allotted? The sorrow is allotted unto us, so that we can see the mercy. I feel like so we can see God in His works. Like if we didn't go through sorrow and anguish and pain, how would we really know that Allah is Allah? If everything was just so perfectly great and good and right, and how would we know? So I feel certain things happen.
And I can remember. I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead.
No, I'm waiting for you. Go ahead. You were speaking.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, who can't remember itself a boy? And it's like when I sit and I look back over, there's like memories where sometimes you have to go back and tap into them memories because it helps you remember when you got over things before or these moments that we faced before. So it like makes overcoming seem possible and knowing like, hold up, while I was there to support me, or the universe has never let me down. I know if I get myself in alignment with what's right, whatever type of affirmations you have to speak to yourself to be able to push yourself through that feeling of weakness that we feel, that's another way that we can use those memories that we do run back into our memory when we do go and remember being young.
Yeah.
Was just another thing that came to mind when I read 19.
Yes. Some things I can remember as a
You
child.
see, 20. Man foreseeth the evil that is to come. He remembereth it when it is past. He considereth not that the thought of affliction wounded deeper than the affliction itself. Think not of thy pain, but when it is upon thee, and thou shalt avoid what most hurt thee. Okay. Man foreseeth the evil that is to come. So we foresee the evil that is to come. He remembereth it when it is past. So we foresee it when it comes, and then we remember it when it's past. He considereth not that the thought of affliction wounded deeper than the affliction itself. So we don't even consider that the thing that we're experiencing just wounds us much deeper than the thing itself. Think not of thy pain, but when it is upon thee. Think not of thy pain, but when it is upon thee, and thou shalt avoid what most hurt thee. So is that like kind of to say don't dwell on it?
Yeah, I would say, think not of that pain, but when it is upon thee, thou shalt avoid what most hurt thee. Yeah, because when you think too much about what you're going through and too much of the pain, you start tripping. You really do.
It can get you thinking about the future and too far in the past, either or. That's that anxiety.
Yes, and then when it says man foreseeth the evil that is to come, that's tapping into that intuition. You know that something ain't right.
Yes.
You can,
and that's what's crazy to me though, because then it goes on to say, and then we remember it when it's past, and it's like we see it coming, we watch it come, we let it happen, and then it'd be like, dang, that's Mr. Wrong again. Like
here we go again with the same thing. Yes. Because we don't consider it not that the thought of affliction, because there's the thought, it still starts with our thought. The thought of affliction wounded deeper than the affliction itself. So our thoughts are still what messes us up. These thoughts, our thoughts are the cause of it all, because thought is the cause of it all. Whether good or bad. That's why I said whether good or bad, I must be accountable. So I have to start more with empathy and understanding through it all. Islam.
Yes. He who weepeth before he needed, weepeth more than he needed, and why? But that he loveth weeping. So we just cry whether we have it and cry even when we don't. We cry before we need it.
We be crying before we even need it. We oh my God, I need this. And it's even before you even need to even possess the thing.
And that's that thought. You really repelling the thing because you crying over it. You can't. We can't see and hear that way. No. The stag weepeth not till the spear is lifted against him, nor do the tears of the beaver fall till the hound is ready to seize him. Man anticipated death by the apprehension of it. And fear is the fear is a greater mystery than the event itself. And the fear is greater mystery than the event itself.
Girl, man anticipates death by the apprehension of it. He anticipates it. Even we can look at our young people today. They don't come past 21. Oh, I'm not gonna see that. Yeah, I'm ready to go anyway. Anticipating the death.
Yeah.
And the fear is greater misery than the event itself. Greater misery than the event itself. Yes, Islam. Greater misery than the event itself. So Islam, Sister Bashira.
Islam, sisters. Happy Holy Day.
Happy Holy Day.
Happy Holy Day.
We just came out of the chapter of misery. You got one more. You're gonna do one more, right? My apologies. Chapter of misery.
Yes, the last 23 is yeah, okay, I'm sorry. You're gonna tell her where we're at. It's 44, right?
Oh, 44, yeah, chapter 44, misery. Holy instructions from the prophet.
And this is verse 23, line 23. Be always prepared to give an account of thine action. And the best death is that which is least premeditated. Be always prepared to give an account of thine action. And the best death is that which is least premeditated. What y'all make of that one?
Girl, I say always be ready to be accountable. Be always prepared to give an account of your actions. Be accountable. And the best death is that which is least premeditated. Because a lot of times we'll premeditate this thing. We premeditate things to take place. Like even through our actions. Oh, well, I'm going to do this. So we're already premeditating it. That's the way I see it from my perspective. What about you, Sister Bashira? Because I love listening to everyone's perspective.
Islam. I would say when it says be always prepared to give an account of thy actions, and the best death is that which is least premeditated. When I read that, what comes to my mind is based off your thought. Everything always starts with a thought. So, once you are able to raise your thoughts on a higher vibration, and you are, because you have to take accountability first for much. Coming back on what Sister Tay said, I do think it's about being accountable for thy actions. And one of the actions is that you can think when you're thinking of things to come into existence. So I would think when I see that, I'm thinking of just raising your thoughts higher to a higher tone, to be more kind, just be more mindful of what you're inflicting on not only yourself, you're inflicting on someone else, you're inflicting on yourself, because I will go back to the saying where reflection is the business of man. So as I'm reflecting and I'm being self-aware, I have to be self-aware as a whole, as a collective, because as like I was telling Sister Tay previous conversations, when I see you, I see me, because we all have these five folds that we have to go through. So we all are going through these things on a daily within this ether plane that we own. So, we all have to take accountability. So just being mindful and, loving thy neighbor as you want to love yourself, because misery does love company. And a lot of people they inflict that on others, and they get a gratification on doing that to other people. And a lot of them are not really self-aware. What they're doing is a detriment not only to themselves or to the other person, but also to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because what comes around goes around. Islam.
Yeah.
Islam. Definitely.
Islam. Good
Ooh, come through, Islam. All right, so we're gonna go to this next chapter, because these chapters are just reflections of each other. So when we talk in reflection, misery is a reflection of weakness. Weakness is a reflection of inconstancy. Inconstancy, a reflection of instability of man. Instability of man, reflection of the soul of man. So I wanted to go into inconstancy. I can read chapter 41, or Sister Vashira, would you want to read it to demonstrate on it? And I can do the instability of man, or the people.
You want me to read the whole thing of inconstancy?
Well, I did 1 through 20, and then 23, 24, and 25. But it's up to you if you just want to pick.
Okay. You said 24. You did 24 and 25.
I went to 20, and then I went 23, 24, 25.
Okay. So I can start with 27 when it says in the divine instructions, the mountains sink beneath his tread. The waters of the ocean are dried up under the sole of his foot. The tiger throweth herself across his way in vain. The spots of the leopard glow against him unregarded. He marcheth through the embattled legions. With his hands he putteth aside the terrors of death. Storms war against his shoulders, but are not able to shake them. The thunder bursteth over his hand in vain. The lightning serveth but to show the glories of his countenance. His name is resolution. He cometh from the utmost part of the earth. He seeks happiness after off before him. His eye discovereth her temple beyond the limits of the road. He waketh up to it. He entertaineth boldly, and he remaineth there forever. Establish thy heart, O man, in that which is right, and then know the greatest of human is to be immutable.
Islam. Love it.
It's a lot of what can I? It's a lot of poetry, poet like measures in this. But if I'm my understanding, if maybe I go back up and see the happiness of the inconsistency is a palace built. So I'm saying this is the part of the inconstancy where you actually start to walk straight forward, when you're starting to be aware of your inconsistency of how you're going to and fro in life. When you become aware of what you're doing, and you start to be consistent on what you're doing, you will start to see the outcome of things. Like you will start to reach your goals. You will start to see things coming to fruition in a light to where it's working in your favor. And it's also then build up your character to where you can be accountable and be reliable for all the things that you are trying to do, and not continue going back on your word or going back on your deed, and just being what being what you know that you're supposed to be. So you're being consistent not only with yourself, but you're also being consistent with other people, as far as showing them that they can count on you. So you know what I'm saying, you setting yourself to be actually accountable for all things that you're trying to execute. Islam.
Islam, sis.
Islam, I receive all of that. Mm-mm-mm.
See that? Islam. Because, okay, so the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. Holy instructions from the Prophet, chapter 41, inconstancy. Nature urges thee to inconstancy. O man, therefore guard thyself at all times against it. Thou art from the womb of thy mother, various and wavering. From the loins of thy father inheritest thou instability. How then shalt thou be firm? That's a question. We get, okay, from the womb of our mother, we get these various and wavering ways. And from the loins of our father, we inherit our instability. How shall then can we be firm? Right. Does it take us all the way into, as you said, Vashira? Well, I'll go to 3. Those who gave thee a body furnished it with weakness. But he who gave thee a soul armed thee with resolution. Employ it. Thou art wise. Be wise, and thou art happy. We gotta put the soul to work. The soul to work. So it says employ it. I always say put the soul to work, because it's just like you were saying, Sister Vashira. If we go up to I'm gonna start at 24. But what exalted form is this that hitherward directs its even, its uninterrupted course, whose foot is on earth, whose head is above the clouds. On his brow sitteth majesty. Steadiness is in his port, and in his heart reigneth tranquility. Well, we speaking of resolution, and we speaking of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He is the resolution. So that's that exalted form that is hitherward directs its even, its uninterrupted course, whose foot is on earth, whose head is above the clouds. Resolution. We have resolution. That's what he armed us with. He armed us with resolution. Because who gave thee a soul armed thee with resolution. So see, mother and father gave us this body. But who gave us this soul armed us with resolution.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Islam. Yes, Islam. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Because even in 4 it says, let him who doeth well beware how he boasteth of it, for rarely is it of his own will. It's not the event of an impulse from without, born of uncertainty, enforced by accident, dependent on somewhat else. To thee and to accident is due the praise. So when we're impulsive, when we move on impulse, like I was saying when I asked myself the question, do I call on empathy and understanding before making judgment calls? And I said yes and no, because I can jump to conclusions real quick. But in this work of self-discovery, I'm learning to call on empathy and understanding more, so that I'm thinking and responding with more patience. Right? So this is the resolution. I'm like, I need this resolution even for myself. I need to find this for myself through this resolution.
By getting us to think for ourselves. That's what the prophet is. For us to think for ourselves. You said what was above the brow? What did it say?
On his brow sitteth majesty.
The majesty. So you're sitting at that majesty. So you are your own dominion. You're your own God. You're your king. You have to know how to think for thyself in order for you to know. You have to know your pride in Allah's creation. That's going to unite yourself with your divinity, your purpose, to be a part of Allah. So, that goes back to knowing thyself and knowing what you're capable of doing, knowing that you have been sent here to experience this life, but it's also to exalt your spirit to a higher tone so you could become one with Allah. Because even after this plane, we go to the next. there's still more work to do in the hereafter.
Islam. So though obstacles appear in his way, he deigneth not to look down upon them. Though heaven and earth oppose his passage, he proceedeth. Because heaven is not above, earth is not, heaven's not above, hell is not below, earth is not around. All of that's within you. So even though, excuse me.
No, I was going to ask, so what was it? Was there a question that you were asking?
No, I was just saying that when you were breaking that down through what you read, it was really, it's giving you, like when it talks about but what exalted form, when you start from there and go down, it's giving us the resolution, as you were saying. This is our resolution to get to that point of self-discovery, of, like you said, of what did you say? Establish thy heart, O man, in which is right, and then know the greatest of human is to be immutable. Like all that you read was really showing us our resolution, how we can resolve this inconstancy in us, the inconstancy that dwells in us.
Inconstancy, that's a daily thing that, everybody's gonna go through. That's just something, some everything. You be inconsistent, just not knowing. You just like, it's an everyday battle that you're gonna have to deal with these foes. Like inconstancy, that's one of that I tell you that I deal with a lot. That's something that I will have to work on a whole lot, because I'm human. In the fleshy guard, I'm still operating my human and not within my spirit. So it's in like my nature, as far as the nature with me being on this earthly plane. So I have to take myself and ground myself. You have to get grounded, and it says with the mother and the father, and it's not speaking of this. I understand it's not speaking of just the mother and the father, speaking of the attributes that you have within yourself as your mother and your father.
Islam.
The will, the power, the attributes of the mother, of harmonies of life. You have to unite both of them.
Islam. Because in 9, in inconstancy, it says, establish unto thyself principles of action, and see that thou ever act according to them. So that's why the prophet brought us the divine constitution and bylaws, because we must establish unto thyself principles of action. We must act, like even through these instructions. They're instructions because they're for us to go within, so that we can go within to work on that part. So shall thy passions have no rule over thee. So shall thy constancy ensure unto thee the good thou possessest, because you do possess good, and drive from thy door misfortune. Anxiety and disappointment shall be strangers to thy gates. So we got principles of action that we can use to act according, and in order to get us to the resolution part, right, Sister Vashira?
Islam. We have our 5 principles. We have the Constitution. We have the bylaws. We have the covenants that's been given to us. And one of the covenants is honor thy father and thy mother. All of these lessons, like you said, they all, when you start to read them, they all coexist with one instruction. You know what I'm saying? It's one big whole instruction. So, and this is giving us all the instructions, and being in your lessons, you continue to unfold and unfold and unfold. And when they're talking about inconstancy and instability of man, these are all part of the Lord self, correct?
Yes, yes. And they're the unfoldment of man. A lot of this is the unfoldment of man, the unfolding of us. As you can see, because we're insufficient, the instability, all of that is like we see it within ourselves if we're really being honest with ourselves. So inconstancy something I have to work on a lot of times too. I mean weakness, misery, these are ones I'm working, like you say, these are daily works. These are like super daily work on chapters for yourself. Um because there's days I get up and I feel weak, and then that it just takes me straight to weakness. Like there's a chapter there for that. I'm feeling heavy, my instability. I need to go read that too. So yes, you're right. All of these are that. So is there anything else in inconstancy y'all want to touch on?
And a lot I do when it comes to like inconstancy,
Mm-hmm.
it has a lot to do with I feel like it talks about your ego, a lot of your ego and how that controls the voice, it controls the voice of your mind. So that kind of drives you to seek certain things safe, to be perfection, to get an approval of others, and it will it keeps you captive. Your ego keeps you captive, instead of you going within the voice of the spirit that's more reassuring, and you can insist that it can show you the way to love, so it's on me.
Okay.
It got like, the ego is man, and it's by reason, what I'm saying, it's a divinity. It makes and it remakes as he wills, you know what I'm saying, because you're going, that's your will, that's
Mm-hmm.
your own will of the choices that you just for personal gain. It's for what I'm saying, personal gain, and it's nothing that's going to be good or detriment to help anyone else, but just for yourself, because you're not actually doing this for a greater good. It's just for a self personal gain, and it's for show. There's no really action.
Mm-hmm. In it.
It's action in it, but there's no action in it to where it's going to be, applaudable. You know what I'm saying? Not that you do things for an applause, that you don't do things just for show, or you want to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you inconstancy, you just saying out here saying things, doing this, doing that, in your own will, going here and fro, and you're doing
Mm-hmm.
all of this just because you want to be seen. But
Mm.
what is your real reason? What is the real reason behind it? You wasting your time trying to
Be
please other people, or just trying to make yourself look a certain type of way because you're within your ego for your own personification, just reassuring you, so you're not even in your spirit, you're not even in that high spirit, so it's like
Yes.
your greatest
Yes.
strength, your greatest, like your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. So
Mhm.
the ego of itself is possessed of nothing. So when you
Yes,
in constancy, that's you're not accomplishing nothing. It's gone.
yes, that's
You're not feeding your spirit with anything but
Mm.
dead air.
that's right. That's right. So it says, beware of
Yes.
irresolution in the intent of thy actions, beware of instability in the execution. So shall thy triumph over two great failings of thy nature.
Mm.
Build upon
Beware
will something.
irresolution.
Beware of irresolution.
Mm.
Because he gives us the
In the
means of
intent of thy action. Right. Beware of instability in the execution. Ooh, intent. Mm.
because the prophet was
So
intentional. What
shall
did I
thy
tell you today? The prophet was intentional
fire.
with the way he prepared this. He was intentional with everything he did with this Holy Quran. He was so intentional. He was intentional even to the point of what did I say? I promise he was intentional about what he put in the Quran, what he meant, and the gentle unfoldment of thoughts. Because he was being very gentle with us, unfolding our thought process. Because when we're coming out of a mental slavery, it could be a shock to the system. So this is gentle unfoldment. It wasn't to be rushed. That's why he said it'll be 50 years before you know what I brought you, and it'll be another 50 years before you even can learn the lesson.
Another 50 years?
Excuse me, to understand the lessons. Huh?
It said another 50 years to understand the lessons? So when it says, nature urgeth thee to inconstancy, O man, therefore guard thyself at all times against it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read that again, I just read it again. So basically you said no law can be sacred. No law can be sacred to me, but that is a way unless it's within my nature. So the only right is what is after my constitution. So if I'm following my constitution and my bylaws, everything else is going against it. And it's going to lead you back to being inconstant and weak and misery because you're still trying to figure out what the truth is on how to excel when it's already it's already there. It's not, we make things harder than what it really is.
I agree. Oh, I agree with you so much. Oh, it's long. Oh, that's like rapping in a nutshell.
Too much.
And it's simple. Just follow what is written, and everything else will align. Like goodness.
That's facts. Wow. Yes. Wow. It's long. I'm lost for words at this moment. I'm like, all right, V, all right. So, you good, Sister Shonda?
Yes, I just like this. Go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I think I might have a delay going on though.
You got a delay? Okay, it's all right. So I want to go into the instability of man and the soul of man. Just to kind of count, because it's gonna camel back off of everything else we know. Because even in the instability of man, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 40, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, the instability of man. Here we go again. Number one, here we go with inconstancy. Is powerful in the heart of man. Intemperate swayeth it whither it will. Despair engrosses much of it, and fear proclaimeth. Behold, I said unraveled therein, but vanity is beyond them all. And unrivaled means better than everyone. Acting like you better than everyone. You know how people, they'll say if they sit with their leg crossed like this, it's a sense that they think they're of a higher learning or a higher essence than you are. So some people can sit unraveled therein, with their vanity. Weep not therefore at the calamities of the human state, rather laugh at its follies. In the hands of the man addicted to vanity, life then is but the shadow of a dream. The hero, the most renowned of human character, what is he? I say a victim of vanity. That's what I'm going to say. But the bubble of this weakness. The public is unstable and ungrateful. Why should the man of wisdom endanger himself for fools? The man who neglected his present concerns to resolve how he will behave when greater feedeth himself with wind while his bread is eaten by another. So I'm going to say the man who neglected his present concerns to resolve how he will behave when greater. So this is the thing that I will say, like I've said before. Ooh, when I get all that money, I'm going to do da 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 da.
And it leads to impulsive decisions right now.
Yeah. So you'll behave greater.
And you get that money, them to come out, ain't gonna do nothing with it.
Wait, what you say? Hold on. What'd you say?
Yeah, I can't understand.
I said, and when you get the money, you think you're going to do everything with it. Something's going to come up to where you're not even able to do what you want to do with that money anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why speak that? You just never know. Allah is the best of planners. So you don't even know. You just talking.
Yeah. Because you're neglecting your present concerns. That's like you not taking care of home. You know how it says husbands, take care of your wife and children. Wife, obey your husband. Okay. So husband, if you're neglecting your present concerns, you can't talk about how you're going to resolve it when you have greater. Because you're feeding yourself with wind.
Right.
Your bread gonna be eaten up by another person because they sitting there watching you like, oh yeah, well let me go on over here and get this because you really think when you get it, you gonna be greater than what you was. But if you were already like that, if you was neglecting your present concerns, you're gonna neglect them even when you get something. That ain't gonna change the dynamics. Act as
Not at all.
becometh thee in thy present station, and in more exalted ones thy face shall not be ashamed. What blindeth the eye, or what hideth the heart of a man from himself like vanity? Lo, when thou seest not thyself, then others discover thee most plainly. So even when you don't see your ignorance or your vanity, other people can see you. You may not think they can see you, but other people see you plainly. They see us plainly. As much as we can try to hide it,
right?
We could be seen. It ain't doing nothing. No, you could be
That's
seen.
a big one.
Each and every one of us can
Yeah.
be. So that is not. It's no respect for person. I keep saying Allah ain't got no respect for person. So
none at all.
8. The heart of the vain is troubled while it seemeth content. His cares are greater than his pleasures.
Cares are greater than his pleasures.
The heart of the vain is troubled while it seemeth content. It seems content, but we can look at a lot of vain people and you see them, their heart ain't content. You can tell by their energy. You can feel their energy. They're really not as content as they want to put on to be.
Right.
Some people put a contentment garb on, boy, but you'll see straight through it. Rub them the wrong way or say something they're unhappy with. They're going to show themselves
that's
plainly.
when it comes out. Oh.
You want to say something?
Oh no. Go ahead.
No, you good? Okay. 10. As the man who engages his wife to remain in widowhood, that she disturbeth not his soul, so is he who expecteth that his praise shall reach his ears beneath the earth, or cherish his heart in his shroud. So sometimes people think the praise of them because they're doing stuff like people would say, well, what do you think you're doing? Well, why are you doing that? Well, what are you doing it for? Well, why? Well, what are you trying to get out of it?
Excuse me. Yeah.
Right? Some people that are into, like you were saying, Sister Rashira, to Camelback off you, this ego thing. Their ego so big that they think the praise is gonna be heard when they go into the grave.
Yeah, we got to be careful of that one.
Gotta be careful. Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Some people will cherish their heart in their shroud. They will. They be shrewd as you don't know what. But my heart is good. But just as shrewd as you want to be.
Yeah, because when you're operating within that egotistic measure, you're expressing yourself where it's a false expression, looking upon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great, it looks honorable, it looks mighty, but that all that egotistic, all ego, all that stops the whole flow of your whole spiritual life within your
Mhm.
whole body.
Yeah.
You're not getting anywhere. It's ignorant. You're floating. You're supposed to be floating in the mind of being, but there's no doors that's going to be opened up for you.
It's
There's no
long.
other doors opening up
Mm-hmm.
for you because you're not operating within that spirit of one with Allah, of trying to reach your higher self. You're not feeding that. You're feeding your ego, your lower self, and it's for personal gratification. But a lot of people boast off of that.
It's long.
Some people need. It's good to get praise, though. It's good for people to get praise. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
to get praises.
Mm-hmm.
Give honors and we
Yes.
do that. But a lot of people get in these
And
in their head.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're
that's what I
better
was about to
than other
say. Is it's
people.
such a thin line.
Hmm. Too much of something is even bad. Too much of something good is bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Everything's done in moderation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you keep your soul in moderation as well.
It's long. It's long. Keep your soul in moderation.
It's long.
Do well. Do well while thou livest, but regard not what is said of it.
Mm-hmm.
Content thyself with deserving praise. You just said that. And thy posterity shall rejoice in hearing it.
It's long.
It's long. 14. Why bestowest thou in every man the flattery of unmeaning words? Thou knowest when returned thee, thou regardest it not. He knoweth he lieth unto thee,
Mm.
yet he knoweth thou wilt thank him for it. Speak in sincerity, and thou wilt hear with instruction. 15. The vain delighteth to speak of himself, but he seeth not that others like not to hear him. We can see a lot of that goes on. Like, even sometimes, I mean, I have to say, look, don't nobody want to hear what you got to say right now. Just be quiet. I do that to myself. so,
Right. Yeah, I think we all.
so, because sometimes I can get in my feelings. I'm like, no, I don't even need to go say nothing. Let me just be quiet. It'll come out through song. It'll come out through the music or something, So, yeah. Then on 17, which you were saying, Sister Rashira, the heart of man cannot attend at once to too many things. He who fixes his
Mm-hmm.
soul on show loses reality. He pursueth bubbles which break in their flight. While he treads to earth, what would honor him? What would him honor? Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, because what did you say, Sister Rashira, about too many things? You having too many things going on? What happens?
I think she's muted. Can you hear me?
Okay, she is muted. Okay, maybe she's on the phone. Okay, I know she said something along that lines from that one. So,
Mm-hmm.
but the heart cannot attend
But
at
yeah,
once.
you gotta be focused. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Because some will fix their soul on show. Their soul. And soul is capitalized. All the letters are capitalized here. Who fixes his soul on show loses reality. He's trying to pursue them bubbles.
No.
He's trying to grab them bubbles. You know bubbles break in flight. They're going to pop before you can grab it. But he's trying his best to grab these bubbles, which break in flight while he treads the earth. What would him honor? Islam. That's something.
Islam. What
You want to
would
say
him
anything
honor?
on 17?
No, since I'm just sitting thinking about the entire text, just I think it's also just warnings in here on how thin of a line it can be to be trying to do good and then crossing over to turning it into a prideful or a boastful thing, and that's an error. Just trying to warn us of tripping over ourselves. So I think that's just one of the things I see there too. And just making sure that we're focused on the reason. The reason for us doing it is to be in obedience, to raise the vibration of humanity. The 5 acts, or what do we call them? The 5
Principles?
pillars, principles. Yeah,
Okay, it's fine.
like I'm stumbling over that word. I'm sorry.
No, it's
The
okay.
5 principles. And that's just the only way to avoid all these stumblings, because I just keep seeing to the theme, like this is just the inclination of man. Just the opening of it, the inconstancy is powerful in the heart of man. And then so yeah, that's just it. I don't have a thought about that particular one, but just the entirety of it all is just deep to me, and just to make sure that we stay, not the word humble isn't the word I'm looking for, because that's the lower you oneself, but I can't think of what's the better word, sis, to use in space of that
I
one to keep
always
it
say
simple.
noble. I'll say noble.
Noble.
Instead of humble.
Noble,
Like,
I like that.
noble. Yes. To
Like,
stay
no, I
noble.
like that. I like that. Yeah.
Stay noble. So that's where we end in the soul of man, because as we were talking, all these unfoldments have a lot to do with our soul. We keep hearing about the soul in all of these lessons and these unfoldments. And so in the soul of man, right? That is in chapter 38. The divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. Holy instructions from the prophet, the soul of man, chapter 38. I'm going to start at 2 to 4. That thou hast a soul is of all knowledge, the most certain of all truths, the most plain unto thee. Be meek, be grateful for it. Seek not to know it perfectly. It is inscrutable. Thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing, call not these the soul. They are its actions, but they are not its essence. Raise it not too high, that thou be not despised. Be not thou like unto those who fall by climbing, neither debase it to the sense of brutes, nor be thou like to the horse and the mule, in whom there is no understanding. Islam.
Islam.
In 6. You have something to say on those, from those 3? 4?
No, sis, go ahead.
Okay. 6. Think not with Arabia that one soul is parted among all men. Neither believe thou with the sons of Egypt that every man hath many. Know that as thy heart, so also thy soul is one. Does not the sun harden the clay? Does it not also soften the wax? As it is one sun that worketh both, even so it is one soul willeth contrarieties. Number 9. She is immortal, the soul, she. She is unchangeable. She is alike in all. Health called her forth to show her loveliness. And application anointed her with the oil of wisdom. So we talking about the soul. The soul is immortal. Immortal. The soul, she is unchangeable. So we talking a higher essence. We're talking the higher essence, the mother of the virtues. When I think of the soul,
feminine in nature,
like in all. And the application anointed her with the oil of wisdom. So the application, us applying these lessons to our lives, applying these lessons, applying them and feeling them in our soul, where it gets in the soul. And that application anoints us with the oil of wisdom. Well, suppose not death can shield thee from examination. Think not corruption can hide thee from inquiry. He who formed thee of thou knowest not what. Can he not raise thee from thou knowest not what again? So even when we think we're shielded, they die. So now they're shielded from examination. Not true.
Right.
Not true. Think not corruption can hide you from inquiry. Don't think you can be corrupt and then you ain't gonna be found out about.
Right.
Islam.
Islam.
13. Perceiveth not the cock the hour of midnight? Exalteth he not his voice to tell thee it is morning? That he be yelling. The cock do be exalting his voice to get you up. Cock, and you still ain't.
Still ain't moving.
Right.
Fast asleep.
Yes. Islam knoweth not the dog the footsteps of his master? Fleeth not the wounded goat unto the herb that healeth him. Yet when these die, their spirit returneth to dust. Thine alone surviveth. Your spirit lives.
Islam.
17 and 19. 17. The lips of the wise are as the doors of a cabinet. No sooner are they open, but treasures are poured out before thee. Canst thou think too greatly of thy soul? Or can too much be said in its praise? It is the image of him who gave it. And remember, Allah, mother and father said, let us make man in our image. So what was the image? The image wasn't necessarily this physical body. It says, canst thou think too greatly of the soul, of thy soul? Or can too much be said in its praise? It is the image of him who gave it. Remember though its dignity forever. Forget not how great a talent is committed to thy charge. Islam, what y'all gotta say on that one? Because that's the end of our unfoldment. She done went off again. What you think, Sister Shonda?
Can you hear me, sis?
I can hear you.
Okay, because my computer is. I'm like, this computer is just something else. I swear it works perfect for everything else I do. Its energy just be so lit between us, I guess.
You know we do.
No, just the overall message for me, like I said, is very these lessons, and then like you said, that gentle unfoldment. I just love it all because it was just a lot of nourishment in here on purpose focusing on being noble, on honoring the principles, and not being selfish, not being prideful, not being active um in truth, or alleging that I'm being active in truth for the wrong reasons. And then it's the understanding. For me, it's like, goodness, the understanding is like, this is really the human experience. Like, really, we wake up every day and gotta like choose war against these things that are gonna come at us and try to make us feel weak, try to make us um be what's the word that we use, in and constant
And constant.
and constant all these things, and it's like they're inevitable to come, so we just have to be prepared to face them. And I it ain't even, I think it's, I just think I know the message here is that walking in truth is the only way to combat these things. And what's truth? The noble principles that's been laid here before us, and on how to conduct ourselves. So it was just, I enjoyed the build. It was a lot of good food for me to digest tonight, and as I go through these chapters further.
Islam. Sister
It's
V, what's your measure on the end of our amazing build? Because this was a great build. I love it.
I would say when we're speaking about, I came in late, so when we're talking about inconstancy, I guess we're in our foes. It goes back to the uplifting of the fallen humanity, of redeeming ourselves, um, redemption, and redemption only comes to the pure in heart. You know, you have to put in the work.
Mhm.
Um, Law governs all events, so taking accountability, I can attest that I need to get myself together because I am a reflection of you and you guys are a reflection of me.
Me
So
too.
it's time for us to be lawful and
Islam.
unite as one with love. By knowing yourself first, unity will follow in a lawful way with the divine five principles that we
Mhm.
continue to exercise to building up our character,
Mhm. Mhm.
because we need each other with this sisterhood
It's,
um, on the
it's
forefront,
um,
because
it's
it's a daily struggle, but within that struggle, Allah always shows us mercy
Islam.
for a greater good. Islam.
Islam.
it's
You right.
Definitely appreciated this. I got a lot of good thoughts to go on, to build on this with. I appreciate it. Everything your sister
Islam.
shared.
Islam, sisters. Okay, I need y'all to stay in
Yes,
the back for a second. I'm gonna close the meeting out. All
yes.
meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'm going to read a couple of the words from the prophet before we end this meeting.
Yes,
Y'all, we got another Taste of Africa coming for March of 2025. I'm going to put the save the date up, but I'm
oh
just
goodness.
letting y'all know that the Taste of Africa, the second edition, will be coming March of 2025.
Praise
Islam.
Allah. Because I needed to, yeah.
That's part. That
Yes, I'm
yes.
coming.
Yes, that part. Yes, I need y'all here. I need y'all here. It's long. We
Plenty
need
of time.
tables and all. We're selling stuff. We need vendors, everything. So bring the things that you sell and do and make and all of that. That's what we're going to be doing. Islam. So the
Islam.
divine warning by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims, governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they end all radical agitating speeches while at work and in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any
Mm.
member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their cardon button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By the order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Islam. Can we stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer? We turn to the east. It's going within. We put up 5 fingers on the right, on the left, 2 on the right, with our heels touching one another, standing on our square. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
The Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Drew Ali.
Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam. Hold tight to the back. Hold tight to the back. Hold tight. Hold tight. Give me a second. Islam says